This episode is sponsored by the Foreman School in Litchfield, Connecticut, a lovely town it is. A co-educational college prep school that empowers bright students who learn differently. And who would not want to learn differently? To learn more about the nation's first and best co-ed school for high school and postgraduate students with learning differences, go to formanschool.org. That's Forman school.org. Hello and welcome to Distraction. I'm your host, Dr. Ned Hallowell. Let's get right to today's listener question. Jake wrote to us with the following. Hi, Dr. Ned, and thanks for the amazing podcast. Thank you, Jake. I've been diagnosed for a little over a year now after the demands of becoming a new father showed some of the nastier sides of ADHD. Now, as a 34-year-old dual business owner, I have managed to use the tips and tricks from your podcast and your distraction books to curb all but one. I'm a copywriter by day and martial arts coach by evening, and I just can't seem to find a path to stick to when it comes to being a better writer. I know this is an umbrella problem with many others underneath it, but is there a system or best practice for people with ADHD to follow, given that most everyone is different? Thanks for taking the time to read and for the continued life-changing content. You saved my life. Well, thank you so much, Jake. The way is different for each person. I would get my new book, ADHD 2.0. It has a lot of very fundamental tips in it. And the final chapter, wrapping it up, is called Find Your Feel and Make It Real. And I think that's the best advice for writers. Since I'm a writer myself, this is my 21st book. Find your feel and make it real. Now, there are some absolutes. You should try to write every day. If you can, you should, get feedback from others about your writing. If you can, you should stay away from the terrible habit of perfectionism if you can. But having that creative outlet and giving vent to it regularly tends to keep the words flowing. But beyond that, find your feel and make it real. If you do well with the schedule, have a schedule. If you do well writing when the spirit moves you, as long as the spirit does move you, then go that way. But to find your feel and make it real, it's like your golf swing. You want to find your feel and make it real. There are some commonalities to every golf swing, but no two golf swings are exactly the same. And you want to find your golf swing, your way of writing, your way of finding your feel and making it real. Also, you didn't mention whether you take medication or not. It's always worthwhile to give it a try, because when it works, it's dramatic. It's a godsend. When meds work, they are absolutely amazing. So if you haven't tried it, it'd be worth trying. It works about 80% of the time. 20% of the time, it doesn't work. So, the odds are pretty good, but they're not 100% by any means. The other thing you might try, you said you can't find a path to stick to, is working with a coach. And you can Google ADHD coaches. You can go to ADHD Coach Academy, ADHD CA. It's a great site for finding coaches, ADHD coaches. They're not terribly expensive, and they can be true game changers. So those would be my main bits of advice, Jake, and I'm glad you found my advice so far useful, and I hope you find this also useful. Thank you so much for writing in. Okay, I hope that helps. Thanks so much for sending us your question, and please, if you have a question you'd like me to answer in one of these Q&A episodes, send it to us at connect@distractionpodcast.com. We're now releasing new Q&A episodes every Monday, so be sure to send in your question. I really love doing this, but we can't do these types of episodes without you, so please reach out to us and we will reach back to you. I'd like to thank the Foreman School in Litchfield, Connecticut, a wonderful school, for sponsoring this episode. I've known Foreman, worked with Foreman for decades. And they really do understand kids, all kids, particularly kids who learn differently. They're a remarkable school where you get exactly the kind of individualized attention that you need. Distraction is created by Sounds Great Media. Our producer is the wonderful Sarah Guertin, and our recording engineer is the also wonderful Scott Persson. The episode you just heard was sponsored by the Foreman School in Litchfield, Connecticut, beautiful Litchfield. Foreman gives students who learn differently the resources to discover what they care about, to find success in a wide range of fields, and to just be themselves, not just their diagnosis. Learn more about the nation's first and best co-ed school for high school and postgraduate students with learning differences at formanschool.org. That's Forman school.org.